Hey, welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about Diablo dungeon generation. In this video we are going to take a look at our blueprints and we are going to make sure everything is cleaned up, everything is rightfully categorized, and we're also going to promote some stuff to variables and create some metrics. Usually cleaning up can be a bit boring, but we're going to try to make it fun by generating a lot of metrics we can tweak while we're cleaning up. So I think we are just going to I don't need to comment that actually. We're just going to go on our function list and we're going to take a look at the first function. What are we doing here? We're just spawning a tile and we're attaching it. So this makes sure I can rotate the tile, the level generator afterwards, and every tile will rotate as well. I believe this is about the reset dungeon. So we're keeping track of the tiles in order to remove them afterwards. And then the generate level function. Well, actually it's pretty straightforward. We are going to create our first metric here. But it's going to be there's going to have a problem with this metric. We're going to see real quick. So when we generated the extra connections and when we generated the additional tile layout I talked about, it was a design decision where we're going to make that a metric. So whether or not to make it so the additional tiles are connected to the extra connections. So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to promote that to a variable. We're going to call that connect additional tiles. But there's a bit of an issue here. If you right now, our list of additional tiles is, if I'm not mistaken, in our getTile class. Our list of additional tiles is the list of generic tiles, which means there is a tile for every type of connections we have in the dungeon. And if you don't make it so your additional tiles are using a set of tiles which has all the connections needed, then you won't be able to generate the extra connection with your tiles, and it's going to create a problem where you have generic tiles trying to reach additional tiles, but additional tiles won't be opened in the right way. So you gotta make sure your additional tiles have all the connections needed for a level to spawn. For instance, if you get what I mean, you need to have all type of tiles. So I know we do, so I can just say if this metric is true, then we're going to generate, and then we're going to the additional tiles, and then we are going to generate the extra connections, and this means they're going to be connected with the rest of the room, else we did the other way around. So if I hit compile, and then I'm making sure this is true, it will actually connect the additional tiles to the level. Well, it doesn't. Why? Because I know why. Because the extra connection are only taking into account the generic tile. So we gotta make sure here we say, actually, this is a bad metric to create. Or we gotta make sure these additional tiles are in fact generic tile. But I mean, I know what we are going to do. We're just going to use that metric we just created. So we are going to say you filter generic tiles, or if additional tiles is true, connect additional tiles is true, and the tile is an additional tile, you're going to, we are actually not going to go or, we are just going to go that way, just to improve the performances of the level generator. Because checking only that, it will check if it's a generic tile most of the time, and since most of the tiles we are spawning are of that type, we're making sure we're doing less condition checking. So this will actually make it so our additional tiles are actually connected to the level. So this would have been a dead end like this if it wouldn't have been, if we will uncheck the box we just created, it would have been a dead end. So I'm going to respawn some dungeon. Yep, we got a corner right there, and we have another corner in the end here. So that's the first boolean we created, the first metric we created. So we're also going to put that in our metric folder like this. And then we're going to go back to our cleaning process. So in here, I mean, that's just steps after steps. We're just going to make it so we understand what that is. We are creating the Diablo-like feeling, camera feel, by rotating the generator like this, all tiles that are connected to it. Right. We don't need to expand much more on that. Neither do we need in here generating the tile layouts. We're gonna make it so this is a function. This is actually creating our start tile. We're going to collapse this to a function. This is going to be create start tile. I'm not sure about the folder just yet, so we're going to put that aside. This is our loop of creation. What are we doing here? What is it doing? All right. Do we need to say something about this? Maybe south is used for our start tile. About this, we are going to in future videos we might be doing something about this start tile to make it so we can actually specify for each level we want or stuff like that what orientation it should have. So south is used for our start tile. So we're just checking if we're creating the first tile, which should then be connected from south, actually from north. Oh, if I'm not mistaken, yep. So like this, we are finding a random next location. Random is returned if we are not finding any spots. Like this. If we did not find spots, we are resetting. All right, quite a long comment for such a small node. About that, we are just storing temporary variables. We are getting the last tile that was found. We are getting the previous, the last tile that was found. The last tile minus the number of time we stepped back. Alright guys, I'm sorry, I know it's getting boring. I'm going to make it so we spend less time commenting. So we are stepping back, blah blah blah, we are finding a location for our step back. Actually, we could have made it so this is a function, we are doing this all the twice in a row. Alright, we're going to make that a function, and then we're going to be good. So we're just going to get this and that and this. We're going to Control C. We're going to create a new function that is going to be add new tile to layout. So this is going to return a boolean successfully added. So it's going to take a starting location, a wanted direction. If it returns random, we are returning false, and then we're promoting that to. Do we need to promote that to? Do we actually need to promote that? We just need to plug that in here, and that's in here, and this in here. Oh, what? Tile type? Oh no, yeah, we need to make that a parameter. We don't need this, we don't need that. And we need to also promote this return locations to be able to store the previous location in our generating tile layout function. We don't need that extra parameter I just added, so we don't need to return it here. We need it here. We need to say it has been successfully added. So add new tile to layout. It's taking a starting location. I'm just not sure about the connection location here. Should it be? I'm not sure it should be the starting location. I'm going to make sure by going back in here. What do we plug in our previous location? We plug the, yep, we plug the this function, which was this variable, which was the variable we plugged in the starting location previously. So we're just going to call that in here. Add new tile to layout. It's going to take the previous location as a starting location. It's going to take that as a wanted direction. It's going to be a generic tile. And we're going to check if we successfully added it. We're going to delete to put that aside from now, disconnecting just them in order to make sure we don't break anything. Alright, like this. Add new tile to layout. Found location, we're going to promote that to use our newly created exposed parameter. And we also need to know where did we, no, we actually don't need to know where did we come from. We just need to use our function where am I coming from, asking the previous location, the found location, and then we're just going to plug that in here. Where am I coming from? We're going to delete that, we're going to delete that, and then we don't need to do that anymore. We need to store our previous location. We don't need the found location anymore. We need, well, actually, we need to plug that in here. We need to delete the found location. We need to set that. And then we're actually going to set that to a variable. This is the found location. I'm sorry, guys. We got this. It's because now we need to set that to the found location, and I was afraid it might the ordering. I suspect we might have problem regarding the order of the calls of the set calls, so that's why we are keeping that. And then we're storing this, and if we didn't successfully added the tile, we are actually going to step back. We are stepping back, and then actually we're not doing this anymore. We're going to call our newly created function, add new tile to layouts. We're going to say we want a random direction, we want a generic tile, we want to check if it has been successfully added. If not, we're going to roll back. We might have infinite loop here, but I suspect with the different rules we set up, we'll never gonna get infinite loop. But you never know, and it's always good to create protection against these type of things. So that's it. We need to set our previous location here, like this. What are we doing here? We don't need that anymore, actually. Why did I keep that? This was okay. So we only need to store our previous location like this. That's why commenting is useful. We are going to make sure we did not break anything. I was afraid we did, but oh yeah, we did break. We did break everything. I'm going to hit pause just a minute.